And there's some new concerns for Chicago's finances. A new warning from a ratings agency has come out.
So what they did is they revised Chicago's outlook from stable to negative.
Some of the accusations from aldermen, specifically Alderman Bill Conway, about the lack of transparency for a new Greyhound bus station. He found it in a line item.
Well, first of all, there's nothing surreptitious about my budget or my approach.
This week, 10 alders want a special meeting to grill independent accountants who audited city finances.
As you know, we're close to $1.2 billion in the hole this year. We are looking for hundreds of millions of dollars that were proposed inefficiencies in this report.
Your corporate head tax proposal has widely been panned by your alders, of course. And what will you accept from City Council if they don't approve this head tax?
Well, let me just tell you what we're not going to accept. We're not going to accept a reduction in our investments in community safety. The ultra-rich do not need defending. They already have their defender-in-chief. The ultra-rich are being defended by an authoritarian tyrant. Why are we standing alongside of Donald Trump to protect corporate interests?
You've probably noticed this by now. Every time Brandon Johnson steps into a mic, he finds a new way to embarrass himself. He dodges real questions with the feel-good emotional speeches, but somehow turns every budget talk into a therapy session. So while he's talking about fairness and unity, Chicago's credit rating keeps falling and no one knows where the money is going.
He's ignoring that advice. He is ignoring all good advice from everything from the Civic Federation, rating agencies, other experts that have been people on the city council and citizens out there who are saying implement these recommendations. And he's ignoring them.
So we're back in Chicago. We'll be talking about his balanced budget and how it's anything but, and why the numbers don't match the narrative. You'll see how his emotional leadership isn't just embarrassing, it is dangerous for Chicago's future. I think people are actually wishing that Lightfoot was back. This is how bad Brandon Johnson is, but let's get into it. Brandon Johnson's out here running Chicago like it's a group project that nobody asks for. Every time he opens his mouth, he sounds like a PowerPoint presentation made by feelings, shared sacrifice, community vision. This isn't a poetry slam. This is a multi-billion-dollar city that is in the red.
It is deeply disturbing right now that we have leaders in this state that are prepared to defend millionaires and billionaires and not the people in Austin and not the people in Roseland. What is wrong with us? And so the election is a clear example that we can lead with boldness. We can lead with an emphatic position around protecting working people.
The problem is with him and many others, especially the new incoming mayor in New York City, where I have to live, Brandon Johnson has never run a business. Not a barbershop, not even a lemonade stand, nothing. The problem is when your expertise is in something else, but you're trying to manage the third largest city in the country, these politicians suffer. This is not SimCity. This is the real thing. And this guy has never had to make payroll. He never had to worry about permits. He didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. Before this, he was just a teacher, a union organizer. That's it. It's a good job, it's honest work, but it's nowhere near budget management or financial literacy under pressure. So now they have a mayor that treats a deficit like it's a moral debate instead of a true math problem. He keeps saying that we're invested in people.
But I also made a commitment that we're not going to continue to balance budgets off the backs of working people. There's a better pathway forward. This corporate head tax allows for us to continue to double down on our efforts to build the safest, most affordable big city in America. And I'm very proud of our efforts and our work, and we'll continue to do just that. Invest in people.
It's a cool line, I guess. It sounds noble, but ask him how. Then the man starts to give you a TED talk on empathy. Empathy does not pay the light bill. The electric company that I have to deal with, Con Edison, they don't take compassion as currency. So watching him talk numbers is really like watching someone try to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded underwater in a hurricane. You can tell he believes every word, but belief doesn't balance the budget. It's adorable until you remember people's rents, safety, and jobs depend on math.
Let's get down to the problems we have here. We need to rein in spending. Our city government is much too large. We've known this for years.
A majority of aldermen, they've called for a special city council hearing on Monday with the accountants from Ernst & Young present. They did a report that cost $3 million. It offered the city recommendations for streamlining city government.
The mayor's proposed budget lays out $80 million in cost reductions. But the alders question why Mayor Johnson did not adopt all of the EY recommendations.
What we've seen is that the administration has only chosen a couple small things out of this document to move forward with, when they have the full opportunity here to take dozens of those efficiencies to create a better situation for taxpayers.
You never had to fire someone or cut a loss or make a hard call. You start thinking speeches fix systems, but speeches don't fix pension situations. They just echo in them. So right now his budget looks like a campaign flyer with a lot of commas in them, and it's not really a lot of progress. It's malpractice. So let's talk about where the money is going, because when you strip away the buzzwords, this thing does not look good at all. Johnson is bragging about saving $600 million over 10 years. That sounds great, except no one can find the math behind it. I don't know what he was teaching when he was a teacher. I don't know if he's a math teacher. I doubt it. It's like saying you're gonna lose 50 pounds over the next decade. Technically possible, but only if you stop eating and you have time travel.
To protect corporate interests, where we saw the largest upward transfer of wealth into the hands of the ultra-rich than any time in our nation's history. Justice Brandeis made it clear. You can either have a democracy or you can have wealth concentrated into the hands of the ultra-rich, but you cannot have both. I'm fighting for our democracy.
There's no data behind those that they have shown us.
This administration was looking to do a budget vote on November 20th. That's 17 days from now. How anybody in this city council can feel that we're ready. EY is a global firm. They are one of the most respected in the business. We think it's very important that they come before us and lift up the hood.
He keeps pitching this people first budget, but when you dig into the fine print, it's mostly smoke and mirrors. And there's also a situation with the Greyhound terminal, a secret multi-million-dollar project buried in a line item. Then he acts confused when the reporters find it. He calls it a citywide investment in equity.
Also, can you just respond to some of the accusations from aldermen, specifically Alderman Bill Conway, about the lack of transparency for a new Greyhound bus station? He found it in a line item.
We have been in regular communication around how do we ensure we have a bus terminal for Greyhound that is going to provide access for 500,000 riders. We're talking about poor and low income individuals. So I fundamentally disagree with the characterization of this alder. And again, we're look, if alders believe that for a citywide initiative as important as this one, to have like a veto, de facto sort of prerogative operation, then we're going to fundamentally disagree.
What does that mean? To me, that translates to, I didn't tell anyone because I knew you guys would hate it. Remember, this guy calls for transparency. But this man's version of transparency is just really a fog with a lot of footnotes. Technically clear if you stare long enough, but you'll go blind trying. Every time this dude says transparency, you can practically hear the red flags waving. You ask him a question, then he talks for about 5 minutes without answering anything. It's like watching someone play dodgeball with the truth. Reporters will ask, where's the money for this coming from? He'll say something like, we are investing in hope. Hope doesn't have a funding source. Hope doesn't cut checks. Transparency isn't about saying those lovely big words that are full of emotion. It's about showing big receipts. And Johnson doesn't have any. You shouldn't need a decoder ring and a law degree just to figure out where your tax dollars are being spent. Meanwhile, he's hiding behind moral language like a shield. Every criticism turns into an emotional story about disinvestment and justice. That's not really transparency, that's manipulation. It's dressed up as empathy. It's a city full of people who keep getting gaslit by nice sounding slogans. And speaking about transparency, let's talk about this mystery room. Yes, apparently, Brandon Johnson's office has something called a gift room. That's where they store all the free stuff they give the mayor. Shoes, jerseys, purses, random swag. I think they still call it swag. Basically, the donation center for Mayor Johnson.
New allegations tonight of misleading practices surrounding the mayor's gift room. When the Office of the Inspector General wanted to check it out back in January, at first the mayor's office said no. But now the Inspector General, Deborah Witzberg, says she knows the reason why they said no.
At first, OIG staffers were denied access. and the TV cameras were welcomed in. Deborah Witzberg alleges that none of this was here.
When we went to City Hall back in January to conduct that unannounced inspection, the gift room that was eventually displayed on YouTube and made available for press tours, in fact, hadn't even been built yet when we were there in January.
Witzberg says on 2 occasions over the past year, her staffers have been denied access to city premises for the purpose of conducting unannounced inspections.
My fear is that this is one more iteration of a pattern of reflexive hostility to oversight and transparency. And that is a very big problem.
It's like one of those makeover reveals you see on HDTV, except the renovation was for plausible deniability. Inspector General Deborah Witzberg dropped in a advisory saying that the room didn't even exist when she first tried to check it out. So they really built it after being asked about it, then acted like it's been there the whole time. Does that sound like transparency to you? The Inspector General said they've been blocked twice from unannounced inspections. How can you say you're all about accountability, but you keep changing the locks when accountability is knocking? You can't spell oversight if your whole plan is to keep people from seeing anything.
But the mayor's office says it acted promptly to modernize long-standing practices by establishing a larger, dedicated space for public access.
So City Hall's excuse is we got caught, we built something cute for the press. I don't think anyone's really mad about the t-shirts or the baseball. That's not the point. The real issue is how they handle it. When the city's own watchdog shows up and you say no thanks, that's a lot of paranoia and a lack of transparency. But let's get back into the budget mess right here. You can't talk about transparency and spending when you're literally hiding closets from oversight. If you're that defensive about free hats and coffee mugs, what else are you hiding in the budget spreadsheets? Every time someone in administration says accountability, you need to have a red flag waving in the background. That's why it's hard to take this guy seriously. He keeps saying certain things like we're fighting for working people. But if your plan for fighting for working people involves taxing the same businesses that employ them, you're really fighting against them. This is what happens when emotion runs the budget. The numbers start crying too. He's basically running a city on good intentions and blind faith and somehow shocked when the math is not working. Trying to tax the businesses that employ the people who work in Chicago may not be a great idea, but he needs to find the money. Even though most of these companies pay a lot of money in taxes, because the beauty of living here in America and doing business in America, that there's certain states that don't do this. And most of those companies go to those states. Why would they stay in Chicago if they have to pay all this money in taxes? These people will just find ways to either have less employees or probably go to other places where it's more business friendly. And then what does that does to the tax base? I'm guessing that Brandon Johnson was not a teacher on economics or logic or any of those things. I don't know what he was teaching. Financial literacy and budgeting was not something he was teaching. So Brandon Johnson, I mean, maybe he means well. He's just extremely incompetent and extremely emotional. And those things can't fix budgets. And he's trying to hide things, and all the people are getting a little irritated with him. If Chicago keeps getting these kind of politicians, I don't know what they're going to be doing. But again, I really can't complain. I live in New York City, and you already know what happened the last couple of days. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about this story in the comments below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.